Are we on the air?
Back, welcome to Third Coast Radio. This is your man Kamikaze the Kingmaker. We are back in here again, man. I got the cool kids in the building. They all in the place to be. House of Mars, Driana Santana, Kayla Renee. We got Ariel in here, DJ Java, and as promised at the top of the show, this gentleman just had an amazing release party in the Capri Theater, like it was in a real movie theater. So that was really, really dope. So if you did not get a chance to go to this album release party, we're going to talk about some of those records tonight. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to talk about what's going on with this new record if you haven't heard it. Ladies and gentlemen, in the studio, we got that boy Valencrime in the place to be. Ow!
What's up, y'all?
What's happening, man? What's happening? So, you in the building, man. Let's talk about it. You got a new record out. You just had a really dope album release party. So let's talk about the album release party first before we get into all the new records, man, and all the evolution and the progression. Yeah. What made you go to the Capri Theater, to the movie theater? For those that are listening, Capri Theater is a movie theater in the Fondren area in Jackson, Mississippi. Newly renovated, a beautiful theater. And it's multi-purpose, as a matter of fact. So they've been showing some first-run movies, but they've also been having some other events in there, and they just had your album release party. So talk a little bit about, what made you decide to go the theater route for your release party.
So I was trying to find the right venue to have the show, and I originally looked at Dueling Hall, and then, I'm pretty connected with the locals in the area because of my business.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in the Capri several times, and it's a really, really cool space. And then I started thinking, what if I created a visual experience for this album listening party? Because I think that, as artists, we want the listeners and people that, tune into us to be able to internalize and see what we're saying lyrically. And so what I did was I created different lyric videos. Some of them were live performance. Some of them were just strictly lyric videos. Mm-hmm. But I created 18 video tracks on top of the tracks, and then exported that as a longer 60-minute video. Yeah. And then we converted it and watched it on the big screen.
That's dope, man.
Yeah,
That's
it was
dope.
Really cool. And it was kind of surreal. I was talking to you about this earlier. Just wow, I've got everybody here. I created this. I just made this video, and I'm sitting in the middle seat of the seat. If you're in the theater by yourself, which one would you pick? And I was just this is where I'm going to sit tonight, and I'm watching a video of myself. It was pretty wild.
On the big screen.
On the
movie screen. That's pretty dope. So what was the thought process behind you going, that route? Did you say, I want to do something different? Did you want to say, I want to do something unprecedented? What was your thought process?
Different, and, I have Green Heart Wellness, a cannabis brand, a hemp store in Fondren, which
we're going to talk about that. Yeah, indeed.
So I wanted to have something that was close to the shop, that we could walk across the street and maybe have some of our products on deck and sample out some of the products. So they created a drink for us, and it was just a really, really convenient process. And
mm-hmm.
I think the interaction and the intimacy of being in the movie theater just really added to the five senses of going in an experience, curating an experience. It wasn't just I'm going to go sit somewhere. Normally we would do a private, 20 people in a room in a studio, but I wanted to be able to share this with other people. So I feel the visual experience definitely made me want to step it up and have a cool venue with the lights out and just you're watching a movie. So.
Yeah. So what do you feel is the evolution been, man, on this new record? Talk about the new record, the title of the album. Let's talk about the motivation and the inspiration behind this new project.
So the name of the album is Irma, and Irma was my dad's mom. When I was 2 years old, she took her own life. She just blew her brains out, to be honest. And wow. I feel and I lost my mom 2 years ago. So I feel I haven't always had or been in the most in tune and in touch with the feminine side of myself and that stability you get from
mm-hmm.
women. So that's been a constant reoccurring battle of trauma and seeing therapy and working through my emotions. And I think in the studio and through creating, there's a lot of where I can hash and flesh that out. And so I just wanted there to be no latency between the thoughts that I have versus what I wanted to say in the music. And as being an artist, it takes time and it's an evolution. And this record, I set out 2 years ago. I had some tracks at the time, unbeknownst to me, that would be on the album, but it was you create 75 tracks, but you're going to put 18 on this album.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
not every track goes to a project. Like it needs to be cohesive. So I spent a lot of time digging in emotionally and just like, fleshing out lyrics and poetry and I've just stepped up my production game, more live instrumentation. The second track has a cellist on it. Like it wasn't like a VST. It was like, like she's straight up cellist.
Came in and did the thing.
And I remember that moment when she hit that string, and it just immediately my brain turned on, and just lyrics just started
Absolutely.
flowing into my mind.
Absolutely. You dig.
So, being an artist and a business owner, it can be quite difficult. So, how do you find your balance? How do you balance, handling your business, at your shop, but also handling your business out of the studio?
So, like, I find myself just allotting times to where I dig into the music, and I'm just like, do not disturb. And that's where I work on social media, I work on graphics, fleshed out song ideas, just promo, and then I spend a period of time kind of just working on more of the retail side of things. But a lot of the Valencrime brand is cross promotion with Green Heart Wellness, because like I'm a very open cannabis user, and the products have really helped me. So I feel like I'm kind of a perfect story of how the products work and being able to use them and how they help me in my day-to-day life. So I just kind of just find balance through just blocking things off and then bringing it together when it's warranted, and then just trying to organize it like that.
Dope.
Okay, so debuting your album at the Capri Theater, using a QR code, to access the album, and I see that you do reels now on Instagram. So what other creative tactics are you doing to try and keep up in this social media age, to try to connect with your audience?
Yeah. So I do a lot of networking with playlists. I'm just constantly trying to find contacts and spam people with my music, because I know it's actually good.
Don't
It's
spam.
one thing, well, tastefully spam.
Okay.
I'll build a
Spamming.
relationship. I want to build a relationship. It's not that it's. I felt like there was a time in my life where I'm embarrassed at how I would be like, hey, listen to this, and I like see the first video I ever made. I'm like, why did I do that? But now I feel like it's actually warranted. But yeah, that and just creating interesting content on Instagram. And I've been working with this TikTok coach, and I'm trying to learn more about TikTok because I'm completely intrigued by the platform. And if you really want to grow a brand, it's the way to go. But just creating unique, because it's like there's so many, little snips of this project that like I know I can make TikToks too. So like it's about that and just networking with other artists and businesses and producers. And like I've been, networking a lot, like, Wicked Weekend, like Delson, he's got a whole slew of producers, and like those cats are so dope. And so just constantly staying fresh and like going to different studios sometimes, or going to different producers, and just like trying to just keep the ball rolling.
So I'm interested in hearing a little bit more, and I know people heard you say TikTok coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to talk about that a little bit, because I think that's very important.
Yes.
You realize that you wanted to be able to maximize the usage of this platform, and you didn't get on there and just say, hey, I'm just going to start posting videos. You want to try to learn how to do it, because there is kind of a way to
100%.
approach TikTok as opposed to some of the other platforms. So what is it about TikTok that you have learned by going to this coach that you didn't know beforehand? What are some of the benefits that you got from really sitting down with somebody trying to figure the TikTok thing out?
So there's people that their whole job is marketing and business organization, and they work with artists and they work with labels, and they just understand trends and branding and niche marketing. And it's kind of just like what I'm seeing, the reoccurring common thing with the TikTok coach is just like getting very specific, like what's your message and what's your niche and what can you do, and then finding something that's like what you're trying to do and approaching it like that, not just like, hey, I'm just going to do the most random thing I can think of and hope that it goes viral. Like you really, like anybody that already is viral that knows how to do that, they've spent time researching it.
Yeah.
And whether they were coached it or they learned it on YouTube, like somehow they figured it out. And you can't fight the algorithm. Once you're not relative, or if you're not bringing me value, I'm not watching your video, straight up. And I'm speaking to myself. Like,
Right.
I'm a student, so I'm constantly trying to get better and like learn more about making better TikToks and better content.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, don't pull it.
All right, man. You've accomplished quite a bit the past few years, man. Tell us about the business in the middle of Fondren right there,
Okay.
Green Heart Wellness, brother.
Yeah, so Green Heart Wellness is in Fondren. It's a cannabis brand. It's a hemp store, so we sell predominantly hemp-derived products. It's not a medical marijuana dispensary, but it is a cannabis store. We sell CBD, we sell topicals, we sell gummies, we sell flower pre-rolls. There's a lot of really useful hemp products that people don't know about, and that's why these types of stores exist. The cannabis plant is, so there's two different categories. You've got hemp and marijuana. So those are, like, marijuana is naturally psychoactive. Hemp is like CBD. But anyway, that's the store, essentially. That's what I sell, are hemp products. So we're open Monday through Saturday, 12 to 6. We're always available. Like, we deal with empathy. Like, it's like we want you to come in and tell us what your ailments are. It's not just like a gas station. Like, it's important to us to have cases and people that, like, are trying to better their lives, because that's why we exist. That's why the products exist. Like, cannabis helps reestablish homeostasis or balance in your body. So, like, we all have an endocannabinoid system. There's all products that can help you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
dope. So how would you compare opening a store? Because you opened up, the store, you work in the store, and you're still doing the music at the same time. So compare the spirit of opening a business as opposed to you putting an album together and getting ready to push a new album.
Okay, so owning a business is like establishing your 9 to 5. That's your base salary. Your music is like the S&P, like the index that you're investing in the stock market. You ain't gonna get money out of it, or like right off the bat.
But sometimes when you're opening the business as an entrepreneur, you're not making money there either. So
That's very true.
how do you balance those two things?
Honestly, just I'm blessed in the sense that the community has really embraced our business, and so I can we can operate. I have an employee, and so I kind of was able to establish a baseline with that, and that's how as an entrepreneur you gotta get to where. But I've survived off so little. I feel like that's a skill that I have.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big deal to just like transition, because it's like COVID, unemployment, like it hit everybody, and then I'm just like,
Those things are synonymous. For some people, right?
I'm telling you. And it's like, after all that started to fizzle out, I'm like, okay, well, I know I can survive off X. And I was like living in this house. I had a roommate. I had a very fixed amount that I would pay for rent. And then it was like slowly but surely, it's just like with studio equipment. You're like,
Yeah.
buy some studio monitors, buy an interface. And then 2 years later, you buy an Apollo Twin. And you slowly level up.
Yeah, you build it up. That's dope. That's dope. So, what's next with the record? You got a particular single that you're gonna work. Of course, we're gonna be, breaking some of those records right here on Third Coast Radio.
Oh, yeah.
But man, what's next? What's the next move? What's the next step for this record? You're gonna be doing, any, real life performing, so people will be able to come see you. What you got going on?
So I'm working on a set right now. I don't have any like definite performances, but I'm gonna start setting up some shows with Green Heart Wellness.
Okay.
And so artists that definitely want to be considered or want to collab, reach out. I want to just curate cool events, kind of like the album listening thing. So yeah, my plan is to just keep pushing out content and videos, and just like, because they say you got to see something 7 times or hear it 7 times before it really resonates with you. So until like each one of you guys hear one of the tracks out of the album, because you see it somewhere, you heard it in passing, like you're not necessarily just going to add it to a playlist until something really resonates with you. So I mean, really the idea is like, and that's why people want to gain exposure, because if you got 50,000, and 1% of them tune in, then that's like enough sustainability to be like, okay, wow, people are listening to my stuff. So, my main goal is to just keep pushing, and I do want to mention something that is kind of crazy, but I didn't even tell you about it, but, HBO was in town HBO came in town about, I guess this was 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, has anybody ever watched the show called We're Here?
Have not.
Okay, so it's like an LGBT thing, and they come into small communities, and they have like 3 people that they follow, and at the end, they just follow you. They follow your life. At the end, they do drag.
Mm.
So your boy on HBO. You're gonna see the beginning or the end of November, the beginning of December. They're gonna tell my story, and at the end of it, I do drag. And I think because I'm just like the most confident straight male that they could probably get to do this, it was just really enticing. And I started to ask myself, I was like, this is crazy. But I mean, I'm very like open-minded. And then I was like, is there any reason why I shouldn't do this? So that's definitely something y'all should look for.
That's dope. All right.
We're here at season 3. They just won an Emmy. And they said
we're here at season 3 on HBO, so it's going to be sometime this month.
It should be. It's either the end of this month or like the very beginning of December.
So we'll be looking for it.
And they said the Jackson, Mississippi episode is the best episode they've ever made.
Definitely shouts out. I mean, it's a lot.
You're gonna see
a lot of drag shows that happen in Central Mississippi.
But never lost.
Yeah. Shouts out to our folks that's listening in Starkville. As a matter of fact, that's listening up in the Golden Triangle and Dave's Dark Horse Tavern. They had an incident with a drag show that they had up there. And, you know what I'm saying? And people being people.
Yeah.
You know, did a lot of protesting and whatnot, man. But absolutely, man, the drag community is a big thing. So kudos to you for doing that.
It was cool, man. You know,
yeah, that's gonna be really dope.
I think it's important for more people to just be involved with different facets of equality, because like that's, and I feel like it was easier to do that.
There's a lot of different people in the world, man, and people just gonna have to get used to the fact that there's a lot of different, you know, shades, creeds, colors, you know. All you know, aspects of sexuality on the.
It was almost like doing cosplay.
Yeah,
is really what it felt like.
Yeah, there it is. So give everybody the social media handles, man, if they want to get in touch with you.
All right, my social media handles, all of them, all across the board, are at Valencrime. And then if you want to check out Green Heart Wellness, it's at green.heart.wellness on Instagram.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen, Valencrime in the studio.